contracts and asking to be traded. You know who we're talking about. Niners receiver Brandon Aiyuk, Jets pass rusher Hassan Reddick, acquired from the Eagles in the offseason less than an hour after his trade request was made public yesterday. Here was the response from the Jets and their general manager, Joe Douglas. And I quote, "We have informed Hassan that we will not trade him, that he is expected to be here with his teammates, and that he will be fined per the CBA if he does not report. Since the trade discussions back in March, we have been clear, direct, and consistent with our position. Our focus will remain on the guys we have here as we prepare for the regular season," in a close quote. So we are back with Jeff Darlington. He's our man with the answers today, although I'm not sure there are any here. Right. You know, Jeff, it's actually unclear exactly what the expectations were when Reddick came to the Jets to replace Bryce Huff. And now we're at this impasse. Where does this appear to be heading?
Well, Hannah, the expectations from the Jets were at the very least Hassan Reddick would show up in some capacity, that this wouldn't simply be a holdout from day one. He spoke highly of the organization on the outset and kind of made clear that he felt like they were going to get to the place they needed to go. And then he didn't show up to minicamp, nor has he shown up to training camp, and the fines are starting to accrue. Now, the Jets gave up a third-round pick to get Reddick because they needed pass rush help. But now that he has made clear he wants to be traded, and Joe Douglas has publicly said that he's not trading him, it certainly feels like Reddick has lost the leverage, except for the fact that the Jets still need pass rush help. Could they still lend some kind of contract offer to make Reddick happy, perhaps even just in the near time by guaranteeing his salary? Perhaps. It does not feel like that's what Reddick is looking for at this point, but quite frankly, I don't understand where Reddick's leverage is coming from. He is accruing more than $1 million in fines so far that will not be returned to him. Yes, he is vastly underpaid, but he does also still have 1 year remaining on his contract.
This does seem to be, though, at the very least, a massive communication breakdown in terms of what the expectations
100%.
were when he came from Philly to the Jets. All right, let's talk about Brandon Aiyuk, and really no resolution there in the Bay Area. Obviously, he's still a Niner. It has been reported that the Steelers have a deal on the table. What's the latest there?
Well, I can say that other teams have felt like they were pretty close to landing Brandon Aiyuk as well, and it simply didn't come to fruition for one of a number of reasons. And we've got three factors in play. The first is draft compensation that the 49ers ultimately need to accept. The second is a contract offer from the team that is offering that draft compensation, and that has to be a contract offer that Brandon Aiyuk is willing to accept. Those three things, those factors, draft compensation, a contract on the table, and Aiyuk accepting it, are the factors in play. With the Steelers, for instance, it has felt for a few days now like that, the whispers around the NFL anyway, are that is Aiyuk's destination. So seemingly he'd say yes, the contract offer is on the table. The 49ers, meanwhile, have not accepted it. So we're still not there yet. We still have not crossed the finish line.
And here's the other thing in San Francisco. We have left tackle Trent Williams. He hasn't reported to training camp at all. He's unhappy with this contract. I know the Aiyuk story has eclipsed that, but that's a big deal right there, your left tackle. Jeff.
It's a wildly big deal. I think it'll be easier to get done once this Aiyuk situation unfolds. But absolutely, we should also be paying attention to that one.
And Brock Purdy and on and on and on. All right, Jeff, we are far from done with you. Busy man today. Thanks.
Begin with breaking news. Let's bring in our NFL reporter, Jeff Darlington. He joins us now. And, Jeff, what can you tell us about the latest with J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings?
Well, it's a bit of a stunning and disappointing revelation about their first-round pick this season, and it is a partially torn, well, we don't even know how torn it is, but a meniscus tear in his right knee that he suffered during Saturday's preseason game. Now, I mentioned the fact that we don't know exactly the extent of the tear. That is something that will be determined at the time of surgery. He will undergo surgery this week. When that does happen, we'll find out whether or not they can repair this to an extent that will keep him get him back on the field sooner rather than later, or if this is going to be a month-long recovery process. At this point, we simply do not know. McCarthy was dealing with soreness in that knee. He went to the team training staff. They put him through an MRI, and they discovered this tear in his meniscus. Obviously, a very disappointing setback for the team's rookie quarterback.
Okay, so we still on questioning the timeline. What more can you tell us then? What's the Vikings plan about the quarterback position going forward then?
Well, we can point out the fact that J.J. McCarthy was already kind of being slow played by the coaching staff, including head coach Kevin O'Connell, when it came to getting him into that starting role. Sam Darnold still projected to be the week one starter of this team, and quite frankly, that was already the plan. They wanted to be very careful about J.J. McCarthy's development before putting him in the game. So from the standpoint of going out and finding another quarterback, we're not to that point yet. Perhaps if he's going to miss several months dealing with this recovery period, they would go do that. But you saw the depth chart there. They do have 4 quarterbacks on their roster. Sam Darnold still projected to start week one. Clearly, I think we can put that in pen rather than pencil at this point, given the fact that J.J. McCarthy is going to miss time.
Man, he looked good in their preseason opener. I think it was 11 of 17, threw for nearly 200 yards. All right, Jeff Darlington, sit tight. We got more from you in just a few moments. But now to our developing story, and it's around CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott, he's back at Cowboys practice today after missing Friday, but Lamb has yet to report to come back in. Jeff Darlington, what is the latest you're hearing where things stand, CeeDee Lamb and the Cowboys?
Well, we remain in a stalemate when it comes to this deal, and quite frankly, it is exactly where it has been. Two sides that are basically wondering who that is. The Cowboys looking at CeeDee Lamb saying you're not going to hold out into the season, you're not going to start missing game checks, and CeeDee Lamb saying who else do you have? He was by far the most productive pass catcher a year ago, by far expected to be the most productive pass catcher this year. The anticipation, as Adam Schefter has reported, is that a deal will get done, but we're not there yet. Nothing is imminent, and quite frankly, the question is when this is going to happen, and if it's going to happen before week one.
Yeah, and I think...
Yeah, no, that's a fair question. Again, though, I think I would have projected... namely Cowboys fans at this point.
Especially because he's their main offensive weapon. Jeff Darlington, appreciate it. We'll talk to you in just a few moments. Hannah?
Well, we have a developing story. It has been reported that multiple teams have contacted the Patriots about pass rusher Matthew Judon. He's been seeking a new contract, has been practicing after a brief hold-in. Earlier in camp, he had that heated exchange with his head coach, Gerard Mayo, and missed 2 days of workouts. But since then, he has been back on the practice field. And here is Mayo on the situation today, new on SportsCenter.
We don't really operate in rumors like that. You know, the conversations that I have with those players are pretty private. What I will say is that Judon's done a great job in the meeting room and done everything that we've asked. He's meeting all the expectations.
Let's bring in Patriots reporter Mike Reese. So the Patriots have a new front office led by Elliott Wolf. What are you hearing, Mike, about how they are handling the unhappiness on the part of one of their premier team leaders?
Well, Hannah, you referenced that one day that Judon was speaking with Mayo on the field, and they've referred to that as one bad day, and how they're handling it is they're moving forward. Here's what we know. The Patriots have made Judon offers. Judon hasn't accepted them. From the Patriots side, part of their thinking is that he's in the final year of a 4-year contract he had signed. He's going to be 32 on Thursday, and he missed 13 games last year due to injury. Part of Judon's thinking, Hannah, as he said, is, hey, they've been giving out a lot of extensions this year. This shouldn't be so hard. So they basically agree to disagree, Hannah. Judon says he loves football, but he doesn't love the business of football. For now, it's been business as usual. This was a great day of football, Hannah, out here. They had the Eagles at joint practice, more than 10,000 people here. Judon was practicing, but this does loom over Judon and the Patriots. Yeah, we want to hear a lot more about this joint practice, Drake May, and some of the other storylines. So we're going to get back to you on that. But as you referenced, they have re-signed or extended no less than a dozen